And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. And I am Shanrae. We are on week 2, part 2 of change. And so we're going to go on and get started. Let me do my website disclaimer and we're going to move on from there. So glad to see you all over there. Hey, Julianne. Hey, Julianne Channing. How you doing over there in Instagram land? Hello, everybody from YouTube land. Hello, everybody from Facebook land. So good to see y'all tonight. We're on part 2 of hey, His Princess, how are you? Over there on YouTube. Let me go on and get started with my website disclaimer. Please be aware that due to the nature of the technology I'm using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies that all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only, and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself are limited of current and available material, but the final responsibility for successfully achieving the goal rests with you. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness. Okay, so let's move this on. All right, so that's my website disclaimer. I'm a degree counselor from Ashford University. I'm not going to read my bio because this 30 minutes is going to go and come by very quickly. I am a Christian counselor, and so let me open this a little bit and then I'll close it back. This is my scripture for the year, Deuteronomy 31:6, the NIV version. And it says to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. All right. So that is my actual scripture that I'm gonna use for the entire year. Okay. These are our key points for tonight. I'm gonna open it and then close it back. Here we go. And we're picking up from Tuesday night. And we've been talking about change. So tonight we're talking about the truth about personality maturation or personality growth. Hey, CJ, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. So the key points for tonight are the truth about personality maturation. Does your generation shape you? That's number 2. Number 3 is how marriage transforms us or relationships transforms us. Number 4 is the future. Number 5 is it possible to change your personality? Number 6 is who will you be in 10 years? Okay. And number 7 is the benefits of being someone new. Number 8 is why some personalities stay sharper than others. So we have been talking about change, and yes, we can change. We can change whatever we don't like about ourselves. We can change anything negative. We can change. All right. So let's move this on. It's a lot, but I'm going to skim over some things, and I'm going to always go back to, hey, what we talked about starting last week, and the 5 strategies that I'm going to keep revisiting throughout the month. All right. So it says the truth about personality maturation, and this is by Dr. Renee. And it says how some desirable traits, they grow over time with us. How some desirable traits grow over time with us. This is an open platform. If you have any questions, I'll stop and I'll answer them. If you have any life scenarios that you want to share, I will stop and I will observe those as well. Okay. What did he said? Oh, that's so sweet, CJ. So Dr. Renee talks about, regardless of how old we are or someone may be, at least some of their personality traits are likely to change within the next few years ahead of them. And Dr. Renee says exactly how that change plays out for any given individual, though it's fairly unpredictable. That's what Dr. Renee is saying. So Dr. Renee says, consider how people's bodies grow. And I've been talking about that. You know, we see everything growing, plants. We see trees growing. We see, children growing. We see everything is supposed to grow. So Dr. Renee says that they end up at different heights, they get there at different paces, but most follow a broadly similar trajectory, which means we all grow. May not be the same way, but we all grow. Okay. Growing until sometimes people, they say, into their teenage years, and then leveling off. Now I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna share this with y'all. So for years I was only 5'2", 5'2". I'm 5'3" and 3/4 inches now. I'm so proud of my 3/4 inches. But for years I was 5'2". When I got pregnant with my first child, my oldest child, my son, when after I had him, went for my 6-week checkup and everything, and then they took my height, and then the doctor was like, "Oh my God." He was like, "Oh my God, Miss Price, he said, "You're one of those modern medical miracles that I studied about for years." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You grew 1 3/4 inches." He said, "After your pregnancy." And he said, "These things happen." He said, "They talked about these in our, when he was going through school, how some women will actually get a little taller after having their first baby." And I was one of the ones that it happened to. I literally went from 5'2" to 5'3" and 3/4. So like Dr. Renee saying that we all grow. Sometimes it just depends on the person's genetic or whatever, but everything levels off. You do grow, but at different paces. All right. So Dr. Renee talks about the development doesn't stop in adulthood. What did I just say? Development does not stop, because again, I grew 1 3/4 inches after having my first child, and I'm proud of my 5'3" and 3/4 inches. I'm telling you, I always, when they ask me how tall I'm, 5'3" and 3/4 inches. I'm so glad to say that, So Dr. Renee says that the development does not stop in adulthood. Rather, changes happen all the time with us. And there is no single normative path. Individuals can go up and down in any trait as they get older. All right. So Dr. Renee says, true, some timelines are more common than others. For example, between someone's early 20s and their 50s. Research somewhat confirms common stereotypes about aging and changing. He said many people do mellow as they get older, generally becoming kinder and more cooperative, more organized, and more dutiful. Okay, although the force of those changes are not as strong as it is often assumed, and many do not follow that pattern all of the time. But he's saying for the most part, most people actually do change, and they become kinder, more cooperative, more organized as they get older. Okay, so in terms of the big 5 personality traits, the big 5, let me turn this so we can see. There are big 5 personality traits. Okay, and I think I moved too quick, but that's all right. Number 1 is extroversion. Number 2 is agreeableness. Number 3 is openness to experiences. Number 4 is conscientiousness. And number 5 is neuroticism. Excuse me, which is becoming more agreeable, conscientious, and emotionally stable. All right. And again, they just combine the 5th one with all of them. So over time, Dr. Renee said it's somewhat more common among adults than changes in the opposite direction. So researchers call this set of shifts personality maturation. How we just gonna that you're supposed to act, and we do it. They said anywhere between your 20s and your 50s, that we all become more personality mature, because high agreeableness, conscientiousness, and emotional stability are all desirable traits that are to align with better life outcomes. So studies are less clear on whether people are likelier to rise or fall in extroversion and openness as they age. Okay, so let's move on to this next one. And I think I'm there already. Does your generation shape you? Hi, who's that? LJD. Hi, LJD. It's nice to see you. So does our generation shape us? And this is by Dr. Susan. She said, reconsidering a long-held belief. Does our generation shape us? Does that help us our personality shift for the good or for the bad or for the positive or for the negative? Does your generation shape you? Now, before I get started with what Dr. Susan says, I'm listening to the age group that my children are in. They're in their upper 20s and early 30s. And their generation has somewhat shaped them, although that they were taught and trained up under me and my husband, my mom and their dad, us. They still have similar opinions as people in their age group. And and they seem to sit there. I've noticed people that in that age group tend to say that they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about family. They don't care about this. They don't care about that. They don't care about this. And I'm like, that's not healthy. You got to care about something. And I'm telling them, I said, this is what you're saying now, right where you are now. But this is going to change at some point in your life. You are going to learn that you're going to have to care about something. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people, okay, you're going to have to care about something. Not everything, but you have to start caring about some things that actually matter to you. You want people to respect you and not lose respect for you. You know what I'm saying? It was a certain stage where these young people come where they don't care how they look. And I'm like, that's not good. That is not good at all. So does your generation shape you? Dr. Susan says, generational stereotypes abound in popular psychology. She says the entitled millennials. Okay. B is the cynical Gen Xers, and C, and predictably, the selfish boomers. Okay, so of course, if you are a member of any of these generations, you probably resist having that stereotype apply. Like, that ain't me. Okay, but are you sure? Dr. Susan said, based on their experience and that of the peers, that you can't all be so easily characterized, is what she's saying. But she's saying major new research confirms that you're right. The results of one of the most comprehensive studies of adult developmental change ever conducted provided long-awaited answers about how personality is influenced by generational placements. So yes, people of particular ages are affected differently by their distinct historical periods. If you was born in the 70s, we have a different type of mindset than somebody that was born in the 80s. And if you were born in the 80s, you think and act differently than someone that was born in the 90s, and so on and so on. So yes, Dr. Susan talks about the findings and the research. Yes, people of particular age groups are affected differently by their distinctive historical periods. But this doesn't mean that the majority of them will mature the same way. See, now we're talking about maturing tonight and changing for the better. Now, how does marriage or how does a relationship, I'm not just going to say marriage, but they said marriage, relationship. How can a relationship, hey, decent in order, how you doing? Good to see you. How does a relationship or marriage transform us? And so Dr. David, and now I've been talking the last 2 weeks about changing for the better. Are you ready to change? Are you ready for change? And so we're getting into the nitty and the gritty of changing and how personalities, how even being in certain age groups and stuff, how these affect your personality, how it affects your mindset and all of that. So Dr. David is now talking about how a relationship or how marriage transforms us in our personalities. Dr. David said, it's often said that married couples grow more alike over the years. Well, for somebody that's been married for 31 plus years, that's me. Marriage does shape what you do. You start thinking more alike. Not exactly the same, but you do have similar ways, similar thought patterns. Yes, being with somebody, being in a relationship with somebody for years, it does shape your personality and it does change you. All right. And so, but does the act of getting married or being in a relationship itself change the personality? So Dr. David was saying that new research suggests that it does, at least within the first year and a half of time to not. I would say from my perspective, within that first 5 years, yeah, it does. It does shape and change your personality. Yes, it does. So Dr. David was saying that it's generally accepted that human development is a combination of nature and nurture, and that by adulthood, one's personality is firmly established and it isn't likely to radically change further. That's not true. I've seen a lot of adults, their personalities change. And unfortunately, a lot of it changes for the negative instead of the positive. Okay. So he's talking about newlyweds. Dr. Davis says, so since newlyweds have to find ways to get along on a daily basis, it's perhaps not surprising that they experience changes in their personalities as they adapt to their life of partnership. And that is true. You do start thinking alike. You start doing things alike. You start acting like when you're involved in a relationship or a marriage. Okay, so Dr. David, the question is, he says that wives tend to show decreases in openness to experiences when they get married or in a relationship. He said perhaps reflecting their acceptance of the routine of their marriage, whereas husbands or the male in the relationship increase significantly in conscientiousness, while wives tended to stay about the same. He says since women tend to be higher in baseline conscientiousness than men, the increase for men probably reflect their grasping the importance of being more dependable and more responsible as a spouse. The research also shows that husbands also become more introverted over the first year and a half of marriage. I think what that means with the introversion, I think that because they are, you're newly at this relationship and newly married, you're giving more of your time to the person that you're in love with. And so you're not doing your old routine. You're not hanging out with the boys no more. You're not doing, you know what I'm saying? You're not doing stuff that you used to do before. So of course it comes across as being like introverted. I can see where it seems like you're being introverted, but you're not. You're just giving, you're dedicating your time to the person that you're in love with. And that's what he's saying. Dr. David was saying about husbands becoming more introverted. And it says both husband and wife, the research shows, became less agreeable over the course of the study. But the downward shift was especially noticeable for wives. Husbands showed a slight increase in emotional stability, and wives, however, showed a much greater increase. So in general, women tend to report higher levels of neuroticism, which is emotional instability. Now, I don't like that. Well, they try to say that women are more emotional unstable. Okay, I think that's just whoever they did research on. Okay. But Dr. David said research found that most of the couples in the study were in their 20s at the time when other major life changes were occurring, and they were starting careers and their families and all of that. So I can see, of course, when a woman is pregnant and stuff like that, of course she's gonna come across, hey, WG, with it, how you doing? Of course, it's gonna come across as that she's emotionally unstable. When you're pregnant, your hormones are everywhere. So that if they're talking about that, of course. So Dr. David ends this as saying that as husbands and wives negotiate life together, the best predictor of whether their marriage will thrive is the personalities of the two individuals as they enter the relationship. Emotionally stable partners make for emotionally satisfying marriages. For others, the journey is much more likely to be bumpy. So if you are emotionally stable, you'll have more of a chance for that relationship to work. If y'all one or both of you are not emotionally stable, then your relationship is going to be the way you are. Whatever you put in it is what you're going to get out of it. Okay. So that was the study from Dr. David. Hey, Audrey, how you doing? Hey, Miss Soso, how you doing? sophisticated. So now let's talk about the future, and we about finished because our 30 minutes is almost up, guys. Our 30 minutes is almost up. Where we? Oh, I think I'm gonna skip over some stuff. Okay, because we're talking about. Let me hit the future. So the future, we now know that personality change is as inevitable a part of aging as shifts in our musical and culinary taste. So why not try to consciously take take charge of it? Excuse me. Research suggests that with some effort, we can nudge ourselves towards habitual behaviors that may never have come naturally to us, but that will keep us healthy, will keep us sharp, and are positive as we age. All right. One key is the ability to imagine, the ability to care about things, and the ability to invest in your future self. Okay. So for us to change for the better, we're going to have to commit to imagining, seeing it. If you see it, then you can do it. Caring about what you're saying you want to change. Care about the situation, and then invest in your future self. Okay. Is it possible to change your personality? Well, Dr. Mark Travis says research proves that it is attainable. It is possible if you can commit to the challenge. Now, last week I talked about D as in David, B as in boy, T as in Tom, and this is called DBT, or dialectical behavior therapy. In other words, it's this type of therapy is acknowledging that you want to change and then committing to the change. So DBT therapy, or dialectical behavior therapy, is a acknowledgement that you want to change and a commitment to change. Okay. So Dr. Mark, he talks about he says, he asked the question, is personality change actually achievable once again, or are our traits fixed and unalterable? And he talks about research. And I'm going to skip the research because my time is winding up. Audrey, how you doing? So he says, in the end, after all of the research, Dr. Mark says, yes, personality change is possible. There may in fact be clear paths to achieving it. The key is to follow through. Again, there is a therapy called D as in David, B as in boy, T as in Tom. DBT therapy, or dialectical behavior therapy. And all that therapy is acknowledging that you need to change certain things about you, and then committing to doing the strategies and going through the process of change. Okay. If y'all don't remember nothing else, there is a such thing called DBT therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, which is nothing more than acknowledging you need to change those negative behaviors and then committing to the process of changing those behaviors and moving, and to have a better life, or a better way in life, a way of life. So, question Dr. Benjamin is asking is, who will you be in 10 years? And I really want to ask the future. Okay, here we go. Is it possible to change? There we go. Who will you be in 10 years? And that's something I'm thinking about. Who am I going to be in 10 years? Okay, this is resisting the end of history illusion. Dr. Benjamin said it's so much easier for most people to look back and then note the changes in themselves that took place in the last 10 years. He said, forward and imagining themselves changing further. But in psychology, this is known as the end of history illusion. Whenever he asks someone to look back 10 years, it's real easy for them to tell how they changed in 10 years. Okay. But he said but whenever he asked the question, but when he asked the question in reverse, where do you see yourself in 10 years? He says it takes them a while for them to answer. He said, they really just sit there and they try to think because he said, and it's hard for them to answer the question because They rely on different mental models, values, and principles than they did when they can think back on what happened 10 years ago. Okay, so he's saying it's harder for people to sit down and actually think further. Where am I going to be? Where do I see myself in 10 years? Okay, he said at every age, people underestimate how much their personalities will change in the next decade. And it isn't just, it's just not just children. He says Gilbert in TEDx explained that best friends, hobbies, and vacation preferences are all subject to change. But a lot of times we can't even think past that. Like, am I still going to be friends with this one in 10 years? Or, stuff like that. Will I still like the same foods in 10 years? Will I still like the same music in 10 years? But most people make further mistakes of believing that because personality change to them is hard to imagine. It's also not likely. They feel like it's not likely to happen, but we know it can. I know it can happen. Like I'm a Christian. So, and I'm not shoving it down anybody's throat, but this is one of the things that I stand on. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if you can continue to train your brain, train your mind to think I'm this, I'm greater, I'm better, then you will become that. But, and so even in 10 years, think about where you want to be in 10 years. You keep putting this in your mind and then you taking action towards it. What you write down where you want to be in 10 years, you will be there or very close to being there. Okay. The benefits of being somebody new. I'm just going to sum this up. Let me move this along quick because my time is almost up. It was a lot of notes tonight. The benefits of becoming someone new. So there are real benefits in recognizing that you're not the same person you were in the past and that your future self will also be different, a different person than who you currently are. Okay, research shows that actually perceiving your future self as a different person is helpful for decision making. This is a good thing for you to think about where you want to be in 10 years, what you want to do in 10 years, put in your mind and then put it towards actions. Okay, this liberating outlook also enables you to have empathy towards other people. All right, so Dr. Benjamin talks about start doing this, make this an assignment of yours. So write down where you see yourself in 10 years and then start putting it into action. Why some personalities stay sharper. This is the next thing. Let me see if this is okay. And I may just, because what time is it? Ooh, our time to move past. I think I'm gonna have to skip this. Okay. I'm gonna have to skip this. Yeah. Okay. So I want to recap again on last week's 5 strategies. When it comes to change, there are 5 different stages of change. Number 1, again, is that pre-contemplation stage, which is that denial stage. It ain't me. It ain't me. Ain't nothing wrong with me. It's everybody else. That's that stage 1, that pre-contemplation stage. Stage 2 is the contemplation stage, when you starting to realize, you know what, it is me. It's me. Okay. I need to grow up. It's me. Number 3 is that preparation stage when it comes to change, guys, where now you're saying, okay, I need to start preparing to do something so I can start changing. Number 4 is that action stage where after you done prepared the things that you're going to start doing to change. I have a close friend. I love the way she corrects herself when she's talking and she's telling something that happened. She'll stop and say, you know what, I'm lying. When she said, no, I'm lying, it didn't happen like that. And she'll go back and correct herself and say, no, this is how it happened. That is an action stage. That's number 4 of change. Okay, when she catches herself, no, she'll just say, no, I'm lying. Wait a minute, let me go back. It didn't happen that way. And then she goes and tells the way it happened. That's that again. Number 4, that's that action stage of change. Number 5 is that maintenance stage where you're currently working you're working them stages, you're working it, and then you might have a little slip and fall. We fall down, but we get up. We do that. A little, but it's back and forth. It's gonna happen. That in that maintenance stage, you're gonna do well, and then you'll slip and fall. But don't stay down. Get back up and dust yourself off and do it again. Keep going. Keep moving towards a better you. Change. It don't matter how old we are. We still can change. So let me move towards our takeaway. Next week, we're going to be talking about a new subtopic under change. And next week, I'm going to be on Tuesday. Hey, Bishop. We're gonna be on Tuesday and Wednesday because Thursday I have a previous appointment. I won't be able to make it then, but I'm going to do it back to back Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. That's week 3. All right. So let's move to our takeaway. Let me open it up a little bit, and then I'm going to see you. We're going to continue on change. The takeaway for tonight says development doesn't stop in adulthood. Rather, changes happen all the time, and there is no single normative path. Individuals can go up and down in any trait as they age. So you can grow up, or you can grow down, or you can become. The more older you get, you become more immature. The choice is yours. So that's the takeaway for tonight. Let's move on to our quote. And I'm gonna blow it up a little bit. All right, the quote says, change your thoughts and you change your world. Okay, and that's positive or negative, but we always, y'all know me, I like to look at the glass halfway full, not halfway empty. Change your thoughts and you change your world. That's Norman Vincent Peale. All right, so I didn't do my service announcements on Tuesday night, but I'm going to do them tonight. This is for my fellow therapists. This is where I got my findings from and my theories from. This is where I got them from my fellow counselors and therapists. All right. Better up. Create a personal professional transformation through expert coaching. www.betterup.com. They have a great and wonderful life coaches there. These service announcements, I don't get paid for them. I just love great platforms and great organizations that are there to help people become the best version of themselves. So this is www.betterup if you're looking for a life coach. Next one is Ada Plus Community. I love this organization. This organization is empowering adults with ADD, ADHD, OCD to live their best lives. A different brain requires a different approach. www.adapluscommunity.com. All right. The next one is betterhelp.com. So if you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and the family. www.betterhelp.com. All right. Excuse me. Oh, here we go. This next one is 988 Crisis Helpline, where it says help is available. Connect with people. I'm doing fine, Bishop. Connect with people that you trust. If you're struggling, it's okay to share your feelings. The 988 Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people who are in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you or your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. www.988 Crisis Hotline. Okay. The next thing is Learning RX. I stand on Learning RX. They've been around for years. If you want to become a better learner and thinker, you might consider adult tutoring. They also work with children and teens as well. Another great option is brain training. Okay. And if you're looking for to work on your learning and thinking skills, brain training is the perfect fit for you. They said that the average graduate of Learning RX improve their IQ by at least 13 points. Okay. And it's a significant gains in their skills like their working memory, long-term memory, and their attention. www.learningrx.com. All right. So if you're interested in professional one-on-one, that's my YouTube. If there's a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you've missed or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, and then select any past series that you would like to watch. And professional one-on-one counseling. If you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling, I am a degree counselor. Feel free to contact me via Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens, or via my email at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist. My aim is to aid you in your life goals and your dreams. So I will see you all next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're still talking about change. That's going to be week 3. This is going to be a different subtopic. I look forward to seeing you all then, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining Counsel Today with Shanrae. Week 2, part 2. And this month we've been talking about change. All right, good night, everybody. See you next week.